and then we'll go into our questions.
Okay.
Okay. Start our webinar. Gonna hit record. Okay, great. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another Turkish Philanthropy Fund Voices of Partners. I am your host, Inmira Bayraklı. Today I'm coming to you from my office in Midtown Manhattan, which is why the background is different. And today is 19 Mayıs, which is the youth and sports holiday, Gençlik Bayramı in Turkey. And so herkesin 19 Mayıs'ını kutluyorum. Happy 19 Mayıs. And I think that the partners that we have today for our Voices of Partners, our sohbet, our discussion today, really fit this mold of what 19 Mayıs is about. We are going to talk about Değişim Liderleri Derneği, the Change Leaders Association, and we are joined by two key members of this organization, the founder, Sema Başol, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. And we're also joined by the chairperson of DLD, which I will summarize it because Değişim Liderleri Derneği is a mouthful. Jale Ergelen is also joined by us. And so I'm just going to briefly introduce both of them, and then we can dive into our discussion. As I mentioned, Sema is the founder of Değişim Liderleri Derneği, which is based in Turkey, and it provides leadership skills training for educated young women in the country. She is a Turkish American, like myself, and she has spent over 35 years in Turkey and in the United States working with companies like Mattel and Koç Holdings. She's worked with a number of startups and a number of nonprofits. And speaking of nonprofits, this is not, DLD is not the only organization that Sema founded. She's also the co-founder of Turkish Women's Initiative, which is a US-based nonprofit founded in 2008, and that promotes the advancement of women through innovative community-based programs. And Sema, congratulations, you recently published your first book, Sparks, Transformational Stories of Young Women Who Dream of a Better World. So I encourage all of our viewers to look that up and support women writers. And Jale is the chairperson of DLD, of their board of directors, and she's also worked at Koç Holdings, first at the planning department and then as an export manager in its textile mill. She's founded her own textile agency company in Istanbul. And then following that venture, she moved to Izmir to manage the girls boarding department at the American Collegiate Izmir. And she's been with DLD since the very beginning in 2009. And we're going to hear a little bit more about what that is and how each of you, all the viewers and the people who support Turkish philanthropy funds can get involved and support this terrific organization. So Sema, as the founder, maybe you can just kick us off and tell us a little bit about the mission and organization of DLD.
Sure. First of all, I'd like to thank TPF for giving us this opportunity to share ourselves with the broader community, and also on this special day, which commemorates, which Atatürk dedicated to Turkish youth. So it's very appropriate that we are speaking on today. And I am speaking as an educated Turkish woman, and I was educated by an educated Turkish mother, all because of Atatürk. So it's very relevant that we are speaking today. The mission of DLD is as follows. University women are considered high impact because of their education, and through their lifetime, they have the potential to make a difference and to touch the lives of thousands, if not hundreds of people. But when we look at the status of university women in Turkey, this is what we are seeing is that Turkey has a very small group of university graduate women. And of those, unfortunately, only 50% work outside of the home. And of those that work, many work much below their potential and earn much less money than men. In fact, when we look at the World Economic Forum's Gender Gap Index, Turkey unfortunately ranks very, very low, 133 out of 156 countries. And so, and hence, so these obviously there is a big need for university educated women to have the skills and the awareness that they need so they can not only survive but thrive in whatever they're up to in life, whether it's in their social work or in their careers. And that's how we decided to focus on university women. So our signature program is a Sparks program, which targets university students. And it's an 8-month-long program, and it's very unique in many ways. It's a very long program. It goes over 8 months. The women work in teams, and they do a social change project. And I will go into more detail, but it's very unique in that it's based on learning by doing. There is no lecturing. They work as a team. They manage the whole process themselves.
Great. That's a great overview for us. Jale, I'd love to bring you into the discussion and ask you how you got involved with DLD and what you find unique and compelling about the organization, because you've been with it since the beginning.
Well, we're high school friends with Sema, and when I moved to Izmir, I had a message from her that she's also in Izmir and she's about to start this Sparks program as a pilot in Izmir because there was a educator in Izmir who believed in this program. And with this pilot program, we needed a facilitator, which should have been much younger than myself, but for the time, I just met the requirement. So from the very beginning, I was with DLD because I very much believe in the university girls' need for their future, having a vision and knowing that this is their life and they have to, or they need to do what they want to, regardless of how the environment is. So I was very much involved and I enjoyed it from my heart. We started it with much enthusiasm, and the girls in my group, 8 girls, in the second year told of this program to their friends, and we were easily getting to the step of having 2 groups. Then when I became the manager of the dorm for university girls, some 350 girls, it was an opportunity. It was a place where I could get a lot of girls to be interested in this program. And it was very much needed because nobody knew us. So that's how we developed and how it got to be where it is now after 12 years.
Great. And speaking of the girls, Sema, if you are a young woman in Turkey, how does someone get involved in DLD?
There's a number of ways. We work with a number of nonprofits, such as Çağdaş Yaşamı Destekleme Derneği or Ege Çağdaş Eğitim Derneği, nonprofits that work with women with similar profiles and that provide them with scholarships. So they already know these young women because they already screen them and they provide them with scholarships. So that's one way, we are working with them. Another way is we have sponsors that sponsor groups of women, and we are now beginning to make this available to the children of the staff. So like if you are working for Borusan Holding, for example, and you have a daughter, your daughter will have an opportunity to apply for the program. And then this year we're starting to work directly with Boğaziçi University because I'm a Boğaziçi graduate, and I wanted to create a group just for Boğaziçi students. So we have a group of friends that are with the Alumni Association that are going to recruit Boğaziçi graduates. Sometimes we go directly, for example, there is one textile company that is one of our sponsors, and they especially want textile students. So we would go to the textile engineering or textile department of a university and work with the dean, and they would recruit for us. And then this year we started, the Sparks program is a face-to-face program. The participants get together every week as a team of 8, and that's the beauty of the program. But because of the pandemic, and we were planning to do this anyway, but the pandemic kind of accelerated to go online. So this past year, everything went online, meaning they met on Zoom instead of because they couldn't get together physically. All the meetings took place on Zoom. And so we decided to accelerate going online, and we created an online version of the program, and we opened it up to entire Turkey. So now anyone who is anywhere in Turkey can apply. And so this past year we had many participants from throughout Turkey, and this coming year we will have more participants from throughout Turkey. So so they can apply directly online. There is an application button on our website. There is a quite extensive selection process. There's a detailed application form, and then everybody is interviewed one by one by a committee for 1 hour, and we're looking for certain attributes. So we only accept women who have certain attributes.
Okay, so you're going to have to tell me what those attributes are, but then also I love that the Sparks program is an interactive workshop. How long does it last?
8 months.
Okay, so it's an 8-month program, and so what are the attributes that you're looking for?
We're looking for young women who are ethical, who have a sense of social responsibility, and who want to learn, who are open to learning new things. So those are the 3 key attributes we're looking for.
Okay, great. So if you're out there and you're in Turkey and you're looking for some sort of leadership program, they're accepting applications throughout the country. You can be anywhere. You can go onto their website and see what their applications are.
Yes.
And so to be able to go and do that. I would like to ask both of you a little bit more about COVID. And Sema, you just mentioned how you during COVID had to switch going online. How else has COVID impacted the work that you're doing?
Charlie, do you want to answer that?
Yes. We were planning on it, but in a way, COVID helped us. And the girls started to use the technology, the Zoom and the phones. So instead of meeting face to face, they had to be online, seeing each other. But this was done quite nicely, and they got used to it. So they came up with very valuable and strong projects. We are going on with the United Nations development goals of 17 goals. And for example, one of their social change programs was writing stories for children, but this is not any old story. They're talking about all these new technologies, robots working in house, and mothers driving their cars, and talking about different views. And another group was talking about starting a magazine for sustainability. So they have created great ideas, and during our virtual meetings, I mean get-togethers, which is one of them is training for facilitators. The other is get-together of all the participants. And another is our final get-together, which is called our summit, yearly summit. And in the past years, attendance for the summit is around 150, but with the virtual Zoom program, it reached 3,000. So although it was challenging at the beginning, we overcame and enjoyed some of the advantages.
Yes, Sema Hanım.
Yes, so I mean, people are surprised that the pandemic kind of worked to our advantage, like Jale explained. We have been using Zoom forever. I mean, not just even before everybody knew of Zoom. For the 6-7 years, we've been using Zoom. So because technology is very important for for today's workforce. Whatever you do, you need to learn all the ways of using technology. So we make an effort to keep up. So so they did, instead of meeting face to face, they met via Zoom. So they, I mean, at first it wasn't so easy, but nothing is going to be the same after the pandemic is over. As we know, many companies are going to the remote work schedules. So they have to learn how to work remotely. So it was perfect experience for them. How to get things done, how to hold a meeting, how to manage their time, their schedules using technology. I just want to take another minute explaining our program, because it's a little bit. I want to make sure we share properly. The program goes over 8 months. The biggest thing that the participants do is a social change project. What that means is that they have to look at their community and see what are the problems that addresses the root causes of that problem. And they have to design the project, and they have to find funding, and they have to finish the project all within that 8 months. And they do it all as a team. And they manage the whole thing. They have a young woman, what we call a facilitator, who kind of oversees it, but the girls actually run the program. So that's what makes it so unique, is they learn all these critical skills because nobody is lecturing them. They do their own research, they run the meetings, they take meeting notes, they learn, they research subjects like what is social change, how you create change, what is social justice, what are human rights, what does it mean being a woman in Turkey, what does it mean being a woman in the world. So they research it and they discuss it, and then they look at the world through a different lens, something which is not available to them at school or in their communities, because this is a very unique program. We also make sure that they meet with role models. Role models are very inspiring for young women, as we all know, because we want these girls to think about, what do I want to be when I grow up or when I graduate? And role models is one way of envisioning of who you can be. So we do encourage, and we make sure that they meet with role models in their community so that they can create a vision for themselves personally, for their careers, and who they want to be for their community.
Right. I mean, I think the other thing that role models do is it shows the tremendous potential of what each of us can achieve.
Yes.
If you see somebody who's a CEO or a doctor or a scientist, you really think to yourself, well, maybe I can do that too.
Yes, yes. And now a new area we're looking is in the STEM area. That is an area where women are terribly underrepresented in Turkey. I mean, in the United States, there's also a similar problem because women usually are afraid to go into STEM fields or feel like they cannot successful in STEM fields, which is far from truth. So we are now looking into creating a special focus Sparks program that will encourage women and give them a vision of what is possible for them as women in the STEM fields.
That's great. And since this is Voices of Partners, and we have a lot of people who are interested in supporting organizations like DLD in Turkey that support clearly women and women's empowerment, how can our viewers, people who are a part of Turkish philanthropy forums, can you talk a little bit about like how their donations help the organizations and how they can further help support the terrific work that you're doing?
Okay, Jale, do you want to answer that?
Well, DLD depends only on donations, and for the time being, and since this 12 years, we were leaning on the donations of companies. So we need more donations, both from companies and individually. For example, for the coming period, we are planning on 10 groups, which means 80 girls. And if we have more donations, then this number of groups and the number of girls we can reach is going to be much more. And we want all the university girls in Turkey to go through this program so they will know what they want in life, what they are capable of. The change they go through is they say, I can, although or previously when they were saying I can't. So we want to give this chance to all the girls in Turkey, and we need all the donations we can get.
So, Elmira, I would like to take this moment to thank TPF. When I first started DLD and TWI, I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I had a vision, but the technical side of, donations and bank accounts and all of that I had to figure it all out. And TPF was there with me from day one. And I'm very, very grateful to the founders, to the management and the leaders of TPF. They were there guiding me from the very beginning because that's what they do the best. They work with social entrepreneurs and help guide you. So that was very, very helpful. So for those individuals in the United States who want to make a donation, they can do it through TPF. We have a Sparks program on your website, on the TPF website. So they can make a donation, which will be tax deductible, which is a big advantage, directly through TPF. And then TPF then makes a grant to DLD. So DLD then has to write a grant report at the end of the year, meaning we are responsible and we report all the monies that come from TPF, and we provide all the documents that show how these monies were used in Turkey.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say one of the reasons that I've personally been involved with TPF for about a decade now is precisely because of what Sema, you just talked about. They have an incredibly amazing team that supports really vital issues like girls' education, women's empowerment, supporting people after after natural disasters, but really working with these organizations to make sure that the funds that each of you, all of the viewers out there are donating are really going towards supporting the organization and then the work that they do. And I think the greatest thing about TPF is finding organizations and bringing people like Jale and Sema together, and then connecting them to the community that's out there that supports a lot of these different organizations. And you can see in the chat, Selin put in where you can donate to support DLD. As you heard, they work on empowering women in Turkey at the university level with an 8-month workshop program where they have to have concrete outcomes. And we heard a little bit about what some of the projects were. As we round out our time together, I'd love to hear from both of you about what's ahead. Looking ahead, I know, Sema, you talked about how DLD had to accelerate moving online, but what is the organization looking forward to in the next year or two?
One of our goals is, aside from raising more money so we can have more participants, like Jale said, this coming year we can only accept 80, and we already, even though we haven't even started promoting it, we have already received 150 applicants for 80 slots. So, and it's going to be, we are guessing that there will be hundreds of applicants by the end of June, at which time we will start interviewing. So the more donations we have, the more girls we can accept. We're looking into creating special focus, special interest, Sparks program like the STEM focus, and then social entrepreneurship focus. We are in discussions with organizations in Turkey that do this as our partners, so that we can provide this kind of focus to the participants. Another area that I already mentioned is we're starting with Boğaziçi University, which has a very strong alumni organization. And so we're going to have a Boğaziçi group, but then there are many other such organizations in Turkey, high schools or universities that have very strong identities and alumni groups like Galatasaray and Darüşşafaka and so forth. So that's kind of, I think is going to be the next step for us, is to work with those alumni organizations to make this possible to their alumni as well.
Another thing we're doing, and we will do more of, is having closer ties with our graduates of the Sparks program. And we're having webinars for them, and we're trying to find out what they need, usually trainings at companies or having a job which is paying for Turkey at the moment. So we try to have more connections with our graduates. That's another thing we want to improve on.
And similarly, we work very closely. We have started working very closely with our sponsors. We have corporate sponsors and a couple of individual sponsors that sponsor a group of 8. That's pretty much how we work now. What we started doing this year, which has really been very good for both sides, is the participants are now beginning to work closely with the management team of the sponsoring organization, whether it's Bristol Myers or Borusan Holding and these are big corporations. And we started a mentoring program, like for example with Bristol Myers, where their management is mentoring these Sparks participants individually. So those are new developments that have really opened up new opportunities for the participants and for the sponsoring organizations. And I want to mention that because we do have individuals in the US who are sponsoring teams in Turkey. And we're very grateful for their support. And we are making sure that these sponsoring individuals actually meet the participants, get to know them, get to speak with them, and actually take part in the project, because that's what makes it so much more fun and rewarding. You know, you are not making a donation to this anonymous, you know, group, and you don't know where the money goes. I mean, in our case, we really make sure that the sponsors know these girls individually and can see their growth, their change, and be part, and also take part in these projects.
Yeah, I think this is why it's so meaningful. I mean, it sounds like DLD is really interested in creating a community, not only just to empower a certain set of women in Turkey, but to also create a community of individuals who are supporting and advancing women in Turkey. We have one question here, Sema. Someone in the audience would like to get in touch with you. How could they do that?
They can, my email, I can give them my email, which is, or they can send an email to, which is easier, info@thetwi.org,
the twi.org.
Yes, info@thetwi.org. Yes, they can send an email and I will get that. And I am happy to, you know, answer any questions they might have.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining this. I'm so happy to learn about the work that you're doing. Thank you, as a Turkish woman. Thank you for the work that you're doing. I think it is tremendously important, not only for the women of Turkey, but I think Turkey as a whole, and where Turkey's place is in the world. So I think that this is very important work. So if for our viewers out there, you can click on the side to learn more about DLD and the Sparks program, and you can donate to the Sparks program and DLD and support the work that they do. And you just heard about how they are countrywide in Turkey. They're going to be taking in a class of 80 women and looking to expand some more. And so we really want to encourage this and really get more women involved in this. And with that, happy 19 Mayıs again. I feel like singing one of my 19 Mayıs songs, but the TPF people might get mad because I'm a terrible singer. But iyi bayramlar herkese, and we will be back next month with another Voices of Partners and Turkish Philanthropy Forums, where we can learn a little bit more about one of the partners that TPF works with. And so thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Sema and Jale.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Elmira.
Great.